I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay, though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. Because it doesn't curve, the water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay, though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with Karen B. and Just Jack. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I know that YouTube is buffering, you guys. If it keeps skipping like that, you can go over to Rockfin. The Rockfin stream is free. Also Facebook and Twitch. I don't know why YouTube is having such a hard time, but just in case the stream drops there, those are the places you can go.
However, you can remain in the YouTube chat by popping the chat out and go to live chat.
Yeah.
That way I can see it.
All right. So for now, it looks like things are okay. Oh, nope. Now it's telling me an alert. Dropped frames detected over the last 2 minutes. Okay. Well, I don't know what that is. Seems okay now. All right. We're just going to roll with it.
All right.
All right. Thanks for being here, everyone. Once again, today we are on Exodus chapter 18.
That's correct.
All right. Do you want to give your
And,
disclaimer?
Yep, I will do that.
All right.
Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study your scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you're open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There we go.
All right. Fantastic.
And recap. So in chapter 17, the people are whining again. Big surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You've let us out here to die of thirst, and there was a rock that is called striving and let's see, where was it? Striving and test. Okay, so it's given two names of striving and test, and this is where a rock was split for water to provide for the people. And they got into a skirmish, and while they were fighting, every time Moshe's arms dropped, they started losing. So eventually they sat him on a rock and held his arms up, and they won the fight. And there's a continuous curse on Amalek for generation to generation. And the name of that place where he built an altar is called Yehovah Nisi. All right.
All right.
And Nisi is my lifting burden, my refuge. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, Yehovah is to fight against Amalek from generation to generation.
Yep. And his descendants still exist today, even though they were commanded in a future chapter. They're commanded to wipe Amalek and his descendants off because there's this repetitive thing going on with that family. But yeah, Israel makes mistakes. Saying that.
Yeah.
I can't see your e-sword on my screen.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
Please.
Sorry.
Please and thank you. All right. That's better.
Okay. I'm getting dropped frames again. Although, oh, then I go to YouTube and it says excellent connection. Oof.
There's some miscommunication between OBS and YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad, and we can always take it off another channel later.
Rockfin, Twitch, and Facebook are all up, y'all, too. Okay.
Alright.
All right. Chapter 18. Jethro's advice. And Yithro.
Hold on a second.
Uh,
Like, immediately, I don't know about you, but immediately I'm like, it's Jethro.
I know. But
All right.
then they don't even say Jethro in scripture. They say Yithro or Yitro.
Yitro, yeah.
Yitro.
If you go to KJV, it is Jethro.
Right. Okay.
So they anglicized it.
Mm-hmm.
They did that with all the Hebrew names, which was very frustrating with me when I first started getting into actually studying the scripture, is how they changed all the names. However, the location, they do their best to transliterate, which means spell it the way it sounds. But all the other, like all the names and stuff, they tried to anglicize. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or there is a couple incidences in KJV where they use the city's at the time present common name for the city rather than the name it was called at the time that it was recorded. So that causes some confusion and issue as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like the Red Sea, Reed Sea thing. Like Yom Suf literally translates as Reed Sea, but they put Red Sea in there because they already had a preconceived idea of about where they think the crossing was. So then in the scriptures it says Red Sea, Red Sea, Red Sea, Red Sea. But yet if you translate it, it says Reed Sea, and there actually is a Reed Sea.
Right. There's a Red Sea and a Reed Sea.
Yes. And they chose a mistranslation based on the tradition of the religion.
Right. And that mistranslation then makes you look at the wrong location, and if you look at the right location, then that's where they find evidence of this stuff actually happening.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like the other problem is, like, if they have a preconceived idea of timelines, and we know that history is all screwed up, then, things don't match up. But then if you ignore the timeline, so to speak, you can see the same pattern, the same chain of events. It's just in a different set of years than they previously assumed. So it's a typical problem with, the bias ignoring evidence. And and again, I'm going to keep plugging this video because I think it's awesome, but Patterns of Evidence, the Exodus, there's literally a line in there that says, you have to convince yourself that this is not the Israelites coming out of Egypt. It literally says that. You have to convince yourself. Because it doesn't fit within our, preconceived timeline. So.
All right. And Yitro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, heard of all that Elohim had done for Moshe and for Yisrael his people, that Yehovah had brought Yisrael out of Mitzrayim.
Right. Now, when I was younger, and we read about the priest of Midian, I thought Midian had a different religion than Moshe.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that Midian is a direct descendant of Abraham, and it said that Abraham taught the Torah to all of his children. So Yitro is actually a priest of Yehovah, not of some new religion. And you can actually see remnants of that when they talk about the circumcision, where his daughter is mad at Moshe because their child wasn't circumcised.
Okay.
Now, why didn't Moshe do it? Because, Moshe grew up as an Egyptian. He didn't know the Torah as well.
Right. Okay. And Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, took Zipporah, the wife of Moshe, after he had sent her back.
Okay, so after he had sent her back, when Moshe went to Egypt, this is when he got into the fight with her about this thing. When they got to Egypt, he sent her away during the plagues. Okay? Mm-hmm. At that time, she had one child. So she had to have been pregnant at the time of the Exodus, and you'll see why in the next verse.
And her two sons, of whom the name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. And the name of the other was Eliezer?
Eleazar.
Eleazar.
Eliezer.
Okay. For he said, "The Elohim of my father was my help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh."
Right.
Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moshe in the wilderness, where he was encamped at the mountain of Elohim.
Right. If you read, hold on one second. Sorry. If you read in 16, they were going through the wilderness of Sin and coming to Sinai, right? So they're heading towards the mountain where, Yah speaks. They're on their way. And they're almost to that location, and his father-in-law shows up with his sons. One of his sons whom he's meeting for the first time.
Wait,
Eliezer.
I'm so confused.
Okay. When they went when Moshe went to Egypt to bring them out, he sent his wife away. At the time, she only had one child. Now his family's being reunited because he's been a month out of Egypt. The father-in-law found out where he was, met him there. Here's your wife and children. And now she has two sons. So she had to have been pregnant when he sent her away.
Oh, okay.
So he's meeting Eliezer, and Eleazar is another name. That's why I said Eleazar, just from memory.
Mm-hmm.
But Eliezer is